Rabbi Melech Weisblum was born in the Polish town of Tykocin in the early 1700s, one of six children, to a prominent and well-to-do family. As a young man, he and his brother Zushia began to study Kabbalah, ultimately finding themselves with the Maggid of Mezerich, the successor of the Baal Shem Tov, who became their Rebbe, their teacher. And they became members of what is referred to in Hasidic literature as the Chevra Kadisha, the third sacred generation of Hasidic masters. For decades, the two brothers learned with the Maggid. And after his passing, Reb Zusha moved to Anapol, and Reb Elimelech moved to Lezhensk, where he founded his Hasidic court, spreading Hasidus across Eastern Europe, all of which helps to understand the comment that Reb Elimelech made on this week's parasha in his commentary, the Noam Elimelech. It begins with a Rashi, found at the opening of our parasha, and the words, Emor el HaKohanim b'nei Aaron, say to the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, v'amarta alehem, and say to them, l'nefesh lo yitama b'yamav, do not defile yourselves by coming in contact with the dead. Asked Rashi, why does the pasuk say, Emor v'amarta, say to the Kohanim, and say to them, lahazir gedolim al aktanim, to warn the adults about the children, to make sure that the senior Kohanim will teach their junior Kohanim, their children, well. Interestingly, this comment is often used to stress the importance of parents teaching their children, and yet that obligation of parents teaching children is found in a more essential and explicit source, the words V'shinantam levanecha. So beyond explaining a textual anomaly, what did Rashi really add? Said Rabbi Elimelech, b'derech drush, homiletically, that lahazir gedolim al aktanim means that the great moments of a person's life, the gedolim, must inform and instruct how we respond to the tanim, the smaller events of life. Or as he explained further, lahazir gedolim al aktanim teaches us to hold on to savor, to embrace the greatness and the majesty of moments, of tefillah, of learning, of doing mitzvot, of smachot, and of celebrations, and then to use those powerful experiences to inspire the simple and more mundane moments of life. It's what psychologists often refer to as internalizing the good, of saving the good moments of life to protect us and to help us find a simchat chayim, a joie de vivre, in everything that we do. And it's something that we need to do now more than ever. Something I was reminded of just yesterday when a colleague reached out to me via email and wrote, do you have any good words for me? I'm a little down, trying to be very positive in front of the kids. And I responded, what's not to be positive about? Kids are learning. We're all stepping up to the challenge, and the community has passed the first phase of the governor's orders, and we're now in the second phase. From my vantage point, there are dangers, I wrote, but there's also a lot of light and goodness. Grab onto those moments to focus on the goodness and the greatness, on the unity, the care, the resolve, the innovation, and the perseverance, and use them. Let them bring light to the darkness, inspiration to these moments of great challenge. But there's more to this idea, one that combines both Rashi and Rebbe Elimelech, and one that I learned via a story that I heard a couple of years ago from Rabbi Y. Jacobson. The story of a young boy from Gateshead who at the tender age of 9 decided to get a somewhat unusual haircut. The next day he marched off to school proud of his new looks and of his new locks. That day, it just so happened that they were learning about the life of Yosef. And the teacher turned to this young boy and asked him to read the Rashi on the words, V'unaret b'nei Bilham, that Yosef was serving the sons of Bilham. The boy read the Rashi, which said that Yosef was oseh ma'aseh na'arut, was acting childishly, as he was mitaken b'sa'aron, playing with his hair. At which point the teacher turned to the young boy and he said, did you hear Rashi? He's talking about you and your hair, because you're just like Yosef. You're a little boy who's playing and proud of his hair. Humiliated, the boy ran out of class and all the way home to his father, crying all of the way. Bursting into his father's office, he told him the story of what had happened and looked to his father for comfort. But instead of criticizing the teacher or even validating the hurt, his father looked at him and said, I like that comparison. In fact, I love it. The boy was horrified. But before he could say another word, his father said, let's take that story to its end. That 17-year-old boy in the Chumash who was playing with his hair, that boy ultimately saved the entire world from famine. And that boy was the only reason that Klal Yisrael continues to exist, because of his courage and his fortitude. And then that boy, after having been reunited with his brothers who had treated him so poorly, sold him into slavery, that boy had the courage to forgive because he knew that God sent him to save the world. I like the comparison, said the father to his son. You can be just like Yosef, and you'll take it to the end. Said Rashi, Lahazir agdolim al aktanim. Parents need to teach their children. Added Rebbe Elimelech, that what they need to teach is how to bring light into darkness. Just as this father did for his son, take moments of greatness and spread it across moments of great challenge, or even moments that lack signs of greatness at all. This is the challenge HaKadosh Baruch Hu placed before Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu placed before his brother Aaron HaKohen and all of his sons. And this is the challenge that I place before you, because we're living through one of those times of challenge and darkness. We face an invisible threat that has overturned society and our way of life. We've closed our shuls. We're staying at home, and we're doing our best to remain connected while we're safely apart. And the question we face is not only will we rise to the challenge, but will we help others? Will we help our families and our children to do the same? Will we, who have been so fortunate to live lives filled with Torah and with joy, use those experiences to empower ourselves and others to remember that things will return to normal, that shuls will reopen, schools will reopen, weddings will resume, and celebrations will be made. But until it is safe to do so, we need those memories, those gedolim, the memories of greatness, lahazir, to inform and protect us about the ktanim, about these times, when our greatest strength will be needed to stay at home, to avoid the Yetzer Hara. And at this time, it is a Yetzer Hara to make minyanim and to gather for smachot. What Rebbe Elimelech taught and what Rashi explained was that it's up to us to use our collective lifetimes of goodness and light to help ourselves and to help others make it through this time of darkness and fear. But we can and we will. And soon, when the situation improves, and please God, it will be in the near future, we will, following the guidance of our rabbinic leadership and public health officials, slowly begin to reopen. But until then, we will daven to HaKodesh Baruch Hu from our homes, and we will fulfill His Torah in our homes, and we will celebrate His presence in our homes, and we will find inspiration in the goodness that we remember, the goodness that exists, and the goodness that we hold on to. Shabbat Shalom.